today's session is recorded. We'll get started because your time is precious and I'm sure you have a lot going on with your adjunct period. So thank you everyone for joining us today for the How to Find Your Own Internship information session. So my name is Jade from the David M. Culver Center Arts Internship Office, and my colleague Kate is here as well to answer any of your questions. And here's our agenda for today. So we'll start with a presentation of our services and resources. And we also have Amelia Sloan from the Career Planning Services who is here with us today to present resources from CAPS. We might have a student speaker, Sirina Zeng, who will share some words of advice at the end of the session, and we'll have time for questions. Feel free to send them in the chat during the session, but we'll have time as well at the end to have a chat. So without further ado, if you are not familiar with the Arts Internship Office, we offer different kinds of services. So the most obvious one being internship resources, but we also have funding opportunities as well as training and mentorship programs. To give you a bit of an idea of the timeline, this is a question that we often get from students to know if am I too early, am I too late in the internship search journey. So just know that you are right on time, especially by being here today. This is really a great first step in your internship search. So as you can see, when we zoom in the January to March bubble, this is really the time to not only look for internships, but also to start preparing applications. So today we'll go through the different deadlines that are coming up and the different strategies to find opportunities. But this is really the key time to start preparing for your applications. I'll mention now as well that we really focus on summer internships. So as you can see, from May to August, this is a time to make the most out of your internship. The reason for that is that there's no co-op program in a lot of the Faculty of Arts departments. So we really encourage students to focus on the summertime to have an internship experience, to really take the time to fully experience your internship. And we offer resources both before to prepare for it, as well as afterwards when you come back to campus to reflect and debrief on your internship experience. So firstly, we'll talk about the different internship opportunities, where to go find them, how do you apply, and when do applications open. So the three types of internship opportunities that we offer through our office. The first one is our internship posting. So those are partnerships with organizations for Faculty of Arts students. Second, we have the ARIA program, which are research internships for undergraduate students. And today we'll really focus on the third type of internship, which is the finding your own type of internship, where you can apply for organizations outside of the ones that we usually partner with, and you can apply for funding through our office. So I won't spend too much time talking about the other types of internships, as we have info sessions specifically for them. Just a note that the application deadline for the partnerships is on February 8th, and we have an info session next week to explain how to apply for those partnerships. And if you have any questions about that, you can sign up for that info session. And for our ARIA program for undergraduate research internships, we already had the info session last semester, so you can find the recording on the website. And the deadline to apply is on February 22nd of this year. So to focus more on defining your own internship, I always like to start with more of a definition of what is an internship and what is the difference between an internship and a part-time job during the summer. So an internship is an experiential learning opportunity that needs to include specific learning objectives. You need to be receiving training and supervision and mentorship from a supervisor. So you need to go into your internship with a learner's mindset rather than going into a job position where you have a set of tasks to complete. Although you also have tasks and duties during your internship, you're also here to learn. You're bringing some of your knowledge that you gained from university, but you're also expected to get out of that experience with new knowledge and new learning objectives. It's not a mandatory part of your studies. So as I mentioned, most programs do not have a co-op program. So this is something extracurricular that you have the option to do, but that can be obviously very beneficial to your studies to complete, either to explore something different or to confirm your interest in a certain area. So obviously we encourage students to do it, but you can also trying to find the right time. Sometimes students put a lot of pressure to find an internship maybe right away in their first year, or sometimes you need to take a summer course. So it's up to you to decide whether this is the right time or not to complete a summer internship. And we do warn students against a few other types of activities that are not considered internships. So once again, part-time jobs that do not include learning objectives, training, and mentorship, as well as volunteerism opportunities that are hurtful to communities where students usually have to pay a fee. So I'll talk a bit more about fee-based organizations in a minute. But first, in terms of eligibility, so all of our resources are open to Faculty of Arts students. So that includes arts and science, social work, theology, as well as master's students, including information studies. However, the condition is that you have to be returning to McGill in the same program the semester following the internship, so in fall 2026. So if you are graduating, unfortunately, our resources are not available to graduating students, or even if you are coming back to McGill in a different program, you have to be returning in the same program to have access to our resources. However, the Career Planning Service, who will present shortly, have resources for graduating students. In terms of the internships, they must take place during the summer, so between May to August. They can be either in person, remote, or hybrid, and they can be either in Montreal, in Canada, or abroad internationally. There are certain requirements that come with the different settings, internship settings, but I'll talk a bit more about that. We usually recommend for the internship to be between 8 to 12 weeks to make sure that it's not too short, that you have enough time to really immerse yourself in the experience, and also not too many weeks to make sure that you also have time to take a break during the summer before going back to school. In terms of weekly hours, it can range from part-time to full-time. So part-time is usually 15 to 20 hours, and full-time 35, sometimes up to 40 hours, but we recommend to cap it as 35. And the total number of hours must be at least 150 hours to be considered by the Faculty of Arts Internship Office. So in terms of what is not eligible as internships, so activities that are primarily academic research. So some internships can have a research component, like our ARIA program research internships that are solely focused on research. And sometimes an internship can have a research component, but if you're just working with a professor on a research project outside of ARIA, that would not fall under the internship category. So sometimes, as I said, it can be a bit confusing if you are doing an internship that has a research component. So if you're not sure, you can always come talk to us and our advisors. For field studies and courses, so those are not considered internships and are a different category. And internships through third-party placement organizations, including certain programs that are through fellowships. Again, if you are unsure if the activity that you're looking at can be considered an internship or not, it's always recommended to send us an email and to verify eligibility before you apply to any resources to have the internship linked to the university. But we do warn students against certain organizations, such as the fee-based organizations, where you pay an upfront fee and they promise you to find you an internship for the summer or whenever during the school year. But the warning signs are usually upfront costs, so you shouldn't have to pay an upfront fee to be placed into an internship. And we do warn students against organizations like that because through the years, we've seen a lot of very unsafe situations for students through these placements. And so we have a lot of resources available through our office and through CABS. So we really recommend verifying the safety of the organization before going forward with the internship. So once again, if you're unsure, we recommend sending us an email. And today we'll talk a bit more about steps to an effective internship search. So once again, you can go through our website and look at the partnerships that we have. But when it comes to finding your own internship beyond those resources, where do you get started? How do you get organized? And how do you get there? So we'll go through all of these steps. So first of all, it starts with defining your interests. So taking the time to reflect on your interests. What type of internship would you like to do? So what are your learning goals and outcome? What skills or knowledge would you like to gain? Do you want to do something that's related to what you're already studying, or do you want to do something that's different and explore a different path? Or do you already have a goal that you're working towards? And it's always good to also make sure that this is really the career for you. So again, an internship is a really great opportunity for you to test out those different careers and to see if what kind of setting is best for you, what kind of field of work is best as well. It's always good to also think about geographical parameters for your internship. So do you want to stay in Montreal? Do you want to go back home, wherever that is? Do you want to go outside of Montreal, but stay in Canada? So Toronto, Vancouver, or other cities? Do you want to travel internationally? And it can help, if you're really open to anything, it can help already setting a few geographical locations to see kind of narrow down your search, because sometimes when you're getting started, it can be overwhelming. The world is your oyster, but where do you start with your search? So maybe you can start locally with Montreal organizations and then kind of expand your search based on those parameters. Are you looking in the public sector, the private sector, nonprofit organization? Do you prefer working on your own, or do you prefer teamwork? Do you prefer working from the office or remote work? These days, again, there's a lot of either in-person, hybrid, or remote. So you can also figure out what is the best way of working for you. And how much time do you have to commit to the internship? So do you already have other commitments for the summertime? Are you taking a summer class? Do you have a trip that's already planned? So again, when you find your own internship, you can also work around some of those commitments and make sure that the internship works for your dates. But it's important for you to really set those parameters before you get started to make sure that the internship will align with your availabilities and your interests. Because again, if you're going to spend 2 or 3 months doing that internship, you want to make sure this is something you are interested in. So setting a realistic timetable and staying organized. So obviously starting earlier is always better. If you're looking for a summer internship, it's great if you already got started in the fall or as early as possible in the winter semester. So once again, congratulations for making it to the info session today. This is already a great first step. So it's great to get started, and usually we have a lot of momentum at the start of the semester, but obviously things get busy with midterms and finals and your course load. So it's important to stay organized and to set aside some time every week to continue to research, to not get bogged down by potential rejection if you finally get to apply to an internship and things don't work out right away. It's important to stay motivated and to continue applying to other opportunities as well. So writing your cover letters, send emails, follow up with organizations. So it's good to start early as well to identify the different deadlines. So on our website, today I'll mention a few of the deadlines that we have internally through the Internship office. But if you look for organizations outside, they might have a different deadline. Sometimes they're going to have a very straightforward application form with a deadline like we do, but sometimes you're just going to reach out to someone and not have a strict deadline. But it's good to reach out again as early as possible to make sure that you're not missing those set deadlines and that you're giving yourself enough time to negotiate if that's the case. If you are considering doing an internship outside of Canada, we do recommend starting earlier on as well. And you do need to complete the pre-departure orientation, and they do suggest doing it 3 to 6 months prior to departure. So that can kind of give you an idea of how much time it requires to really prepare for international travel. We want to make sure that students are well prepared. Sometimes you need a lot of time for visa applications and things like that. So it's important to get started early and to stay organized throughout your search. So a quick word on travel. We also had a different info session specifically on international and travel, preparing for travel for an internship. But just to quickly mention requirements for travel, if you are going outside of Canada, you need to complete the pre-departure orientation. And if you're going outside of Montreal, including outside of Canada as well, you will need to do the travel registry. The travel registry is an app that you download on your phone once you have your internship confirmed, and you put your the information of your location, how long you'll be abroad or outside of Montreal for the activity. And that way, if something happens, if there's an emergency, then McGill is able to locate you, and we're able to track if there are any changes to safety, for example, in the location that you're in. And for the pre-departure orientation, so again, this is for any internship outside of Canada. We recommend doing it 3 to 6 months prior to departure, and it's offered by McGill Abroad. So they're responsible for preparing for travel and all the safety resources. However, through our office, if you applied to a posting, an award, or for credits, or for any of the applications for an internship outside of Canada, you will need to upload the certificate of completion. And as you can see, there are cycles to register. So the January cycle opens next week on January 13th at 10 a.m. And then you have until the 19th to register. It's on my courses, so add the link below. And once you register, you'll have the course appear on my courses, and you will have until the end of the month, so until February 2nd, to complete it. I think from what I've heard, it takes around an hour to do it, depending. You can do it on your own time, so how fast or slow you do it. And then once it's completed, you want to make sure that you download the certificate of completion so that you can upload it in future applications if needed. Even if you don't need a certificate of completion, it's a really great resource, again, to prepare you for travel. And it goes through all the different resources and tips on, again, international travel. So how to research potential host organizations. So obviously online. But as I mentioned earlier, just going on Google and trying to find an internship can be very overwhelming. So it's important that you start with defining your interest. Again, what kind of organization you're looking for, what location you're looking for. There are different kind of databases and job portals that you can look through. So we have internally the My Future portal that Amelia will present shortly through Career Planning Services. And then you can obviously always use LinkedIn, both for contacts, but then organizations also have their own pages. And I think they also recommend you similar pages to the one that you're looking for. So you can kind of go down those search modes through the databases based on the interest that you defined earlier. And an extra tip that we give as well is to go through our website on the award recipients page of past interns who've received awards through our office, and to do a quick search based on your major, your year, or specific company name or a department, and to see which organizations students have interned with before. And that way, that can be a way we can put you in touch with those students if you would like. And they are organizations that have hired a McGill student before, so this can be a good way for you to have a first point of entry and a contact there as well. And beyond the more obvious online searches, it's always great to share the word with people around you. Mention your interest to professors. If you're interested in this specific field, if you're taking a class that's related to something that you would like to explore more about, you can always mention that to your professors to know if they would know anyone in the field, because they often, have their own research and work with organizations as well. So they might have some leads as well on organizations to work with, or suggestions and guidance, as well as talking to other students. So obviously there's a lot on campus with the different student associations, with AUS. So talking to fellow students to see if they know of other opportunities available. And as I mentioned, students who have done internships through our office, we really offer a lot of different ways that you can connect with past interns and to get connections and advice from them. Without seeing them in person, you can also, again, go on our website to read the past interns reports under the stories section of our website. So those are all reports from past interns. So beyond just seeing their name on the award recipients page, you can also hear more about their experience, see pictures of their internship. So that way you get a real feel of what their internship experience was like. And we also have an event coming up through our mentorship program. So the mentorship itself, the registration for it was in the fall, so we won't have another round for this semester. However, we have events the week of January 26th to the 30th, and that's open to everybody. So we're going to have our AMI mentors who are students who have done an internship in the past, who will be available in Leacock room 308 in our lounge. And you'll have an opportunity to come and talk to them. So we're still setting up the schedule of which mentors will be available. But I suggest you to save the dates and to save the link to see if there are certain interns that you would like to get in touch with through that opportunity. So now a guide to cold emailing or through LinkedIn. So as I mentioned, either you might reach out to an organization and they might have a very straightforward form with a deadline, and they're going to tell you exactly what to submit for your CV, cover letter, etc. Or sometimes if you want to reach out to an organization that do not have any internship postings, sometimes a smaller NGO organization that doesn't currently have internship resources in place, you can reach out to them, and that's what we call cold emailing. So first of all, do your research, before reaching out to an organization, read about their mission and values, making sure that it aligns with yours, and that if you ask them for an opportunity, that you're able to prove to them that you are interested in their work. You can address the email to the organization's director or HR, depending on the size of the organization, trying to find whichever information you can through either their website, or if you have someone, if you know someone that has worked with them, you can ask for a direct contact. You can introduce yourself, your program in McGill, and your year of study, being clear about the timeline that you are available for your internships, so between May to August. But as I mentioned earlier, if you have prior commitments, for example, if you're doing a summer course, maybe just mention, I'm available from June to August. You can include your CV as a first introduction. And then the specific cover letter, so it depends on whether they have an internship posting or not. When you do a first introduction, you don't necessarily need to include the cover letter right away. But if you want to show, again, your interest in the organization, you can either put it in the body of the email, kind of more briefly, and offer to have a follow-up meeting or interview, or to have already a cover letter in your email application. Express your interest for an interview, because again, you don't want to write too much and overwhelm them from the start. You just want to like pique their interest and curiosity, and see have a conversation to see if this is something that could work for the summer. And don't be shy to follow up with organizations. Obviously don't spam them every single day, but sometimes students, they send one email and they're like, oh, I never heard back. So obviously if you're reaching out to an organization, this is something that's maybe not, that's different to what they're already working on. So they might need a reminder. So you can follow up once or twice after a few weeks. So feel free to ask for follow-ups as well. We often get questions as well about applying for internships as a first year, whether it's useless, like I'm a first year, I'm not going to get anything, like it's not worth me applying. However, out there are different internships at different levels. So even through our partnerships, there are different levels of requirements required for each posting. So they're all specified on the posting. But I also recommend coming and talking to our advisors to know the level required for each. And that applies for every opportunity also outside of our office. So if there is a posting out there, just making sure that you read the requirements thoroughly. But it's always good to get started earlier on with applications, because there's a lot of fear and anxiety that can come with getting started with the internship search. So it's kind of like just getting started with it, even if nothing happens from the first round of applications. it can be great to get the ball rolling so that way when it comes to your second year, you are already used to the process and familiar with it, so it's less intimidating. And also, again, there are internship that are suited for students in their first years. Again, you've by the time of the summer, you'll have completed a full year at your undergraduate level. So it's important that all of your prior experiences and your early involvement at McGill, that you use all of the resources that we offer in terms of workshops and the advisors to make sure that you are ready to express and to frame your experiences as competitive. Because sometimes, you don't have the confidence yet to really express your experiences in a way that feels competitive because you're already thinking like, okay, well, everyone has more experience than me. And to remember again, like for internships, you're not expected to come in with all the knowledge and all the skills already. You're coming in with a learner's mindset. So obviously there are certain like requirements and qualifications that are expected. But you're also going there to learn with learning objectives. So they are meant to learn so that you can find the right internship. And again, finding your own internship as a first year can be great so that you can find one that is really matches your level of experience and what they're looking for as well. And so I'll take a little break from talking and I will let Emilio Sloan present the resources from the Career Planning Services.
Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Kate. So yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for the invite. My name's Amelia, as Jade mentioned, and I work at CAPS. So some of you may have visited us before. We reside in the Brown Student Services Building at the top of that grind of a hill on McTavish. And we're on the second floor. So feel free to pop by and we can just move to the next slide. I don't know if I have that kind of control. Thank you, Kate. So first things first, one of the great resources at your disposal is My Future. And so My Future is a university-wide career platform, you could call it. It's got jobs, internships. You can make appointments to see career advisors on there. You can also book workshops, right? Register for workshops, register for career fairs, all the details of all the events that CAPS, that the Engineering Career Services Center, the different career services departments around McGill, including Des Hotels, for example, the business school, for those of you who might not know, we all share this platform. And so yeah, it's a really great place. So you should just kind of go and explore. Jade also set up a video we're going to show you in a minute. Can we just go back one sec? I just want to make sure. So yeah, career and volunteer opportunities. So CLAY, which is Campus Life and Engagement, they do, orientation days. Some of you may be familiar with some of their programming, really about building the campus community. They have a portal within My Future that hosts strictly volunteer opportunities, and those can sometimes be a gateway into an internship. So check those out, those different spaces. And now, yes, on to the next slide to have kind of a taste. And so here it's showing someone logging in, another student, right? I'm not hearing sound. I don't know if that was intentional, Jade.
Oh, sorry, there was no sound.
Good to know. Good to know. So, and then I'll just kind of narrate a bit. So, what we just saw a minute ago, right, is on your home page when you land, you're going to see the workshops that are upcoming for CAPS. Thanks for replaying. So, yeah, you're going to check off student. And, we make kind of feature announcements here to the right. The green stuff that you see is all those different types of workshops. So it's user friendly to kind of register for those with one click. What I want to draw your attention to is also the dashboard on your left. So you're going to see under CC's name, there's a dashboard. Under there, you have jobs, internships, and volunteering. Appointments, right? That's where you can get an appointment with a career advisor to look over your resume, your cover letter, a personal statement. You could practice interviewing. And then you can just also talk about exploration, right? What are you interested in? Yeah, all of those related things. Then there's the volunteering. Events is also a key piece. And yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, the gist of this demo was what I took away from it, because to be honest, like I don't see your point of view, right? So I see my staff point of view. But I highly encourage you all to go in there, play around, right? Get the lay of the land. And keep in mind that the filters that you may apply are only as good as the users, right? That set up the for example, a job posting. So employers, right? Different types of companies and employers that may post, right? Hoping that McGill students apply on our portal because it is only for McGill students. They might tag a job as being for undergraduate when it's really intended for a master's student or vice versa, right? So people make mistakes. There is a human error element. Maybe they're over killing the tags, right? And saying it's this industry, it's this. So keep a broad kind of net open when you're setting it up. That was kind of the takeaway I think you had, Jade, right? Like clicking off undergraduate is a great way to kind of start the filtering process. Maybe I don't know if you were using any keywords, Jade, but like I said, play around with it, see what comes up, and um, yeah, remote, hybrid, right? And you can shortlist, which is kind of like hearting something, right? Favorites for later you want to come back to. And managing time was a really important theme Jade mentioned, right? So you might want to prioritize the ones that are coming up soon, the deadlines. And then often, they are set up so that you can submit your application through the portal. You want to use best practices there, clearly named documents, right? Following their orders. And sometimes you can also apply through the company's website. But when you do it through My Future, right, they know that I'm getting a McGill student this way. So, and so yeah, I did mention the events piece, right, in the dashboard. Events are a good way you can access info sessions. And so we've highlighted this upcoming info session here. It's going to be January 21st, Become a Parliamentary Guide. It's a great summer job opportunity if there's bilingual students in this audience that are curious about what that job entails. And so, right, there's like lots of these. The majority are virtual, but they're on occasion can be in-person ones too, and they're usually at CAPS. Keep in mind that often companies will come and do a virtual job info session, and it will be for the business school crowd, but you can still go, right? So that may have been set up through the business school career center, but it could be open to all the students. So just don't sleep on these events. Go into the calendar, the info sessions calendar, and look and see, right? What organizations are catching your interest, and maybe pop into those too. That can always help. And then events, as far as career fairs are concerned, there's one coming up February 12th that I'm organizing. I really hope you can make it out. You don't need to register. I have been trying to keep it up to date in My Future in terms of what employers are going to be in attendance. So this fair is kind of a merge of previous themes, but social impact, these could be companies that are environmentally focused. These could be companies that are education, literacy focused. It's a pretty broad range there. And then the summer jobs piece, well, these could be any companies. These could be Procter Gamble. Yeah, there's lots. Vet type of company. Not hiring veterinarians because, that's not what we do at McGill. But uh, anyways, it's a pretty broad range is what I'm trying to say. And it's a really great opportunity for you to come and practice your networking skills, talking to employers, learning about their missions, right? Flexing that social muscle is so important in real life. So I want to also just kind of flag we're going to have a career fair prep workshop in person at CAPS February 6th. If you want to come and work with your peers, research the different types of companies that are going to be there and practice your elevator pitch and breaking the ice with those recruiters. Moving along, Jade's also given me the opportunity to plug Micro XP, and this is another program that we run at CAPS. I also kind of lead this one. Micro XP being short for experience, right? So we like to call them kind of micro internships. The difference between this and a real internship is that they're not paid. We run the program every May. And so the second week of May, I will be doing this. Whoever gets matched with an employer with the jobs or the internships, micro projects is probably a better term, will work on them for that week. So listen, main takeaway here is sure, go check out the website if you're interested. I highly recommend you do subscribe. You can do that on the website. That way, at least you'll know when the opportunities are live. And then you can make the decision. Does any of this interest me? It also just, makes you more competitive, helps you build your resume. That's the whole goal here, right? How do we build your resume so that you can apply to future internships with confidence and anecdotes to talk about? Another amazing upcoming opportunity for you all is the Future Interns Club. This is coming up at the end of January 28th is when it's starting, right? So we're going to have info sessions coming up. You should maybe check those out. Two of my colleagues are running it. It's great. It's kind of like a job seekers club, I would say, in a way. My extent of involvement last term was session 3, right? Because it's like a recurring club meet within CAPS with set kind of goals throughout, right? Working on the CV, working on interviewing. But yeah, we did competency mapping. So we looked at different job descriptions and said, how do these connect to the skills that you have? And you have tons of skills, whether you maybe realize it or not, that are transferable across different jobs and internships. So check that out. And I really liked your point, right, Jade, about the whole managing your time, right? Because it is a process. And so this can help you structure that might feel like a slog over time and make steady progress towards those goals. I've talked enough about this one. Clearly, I am a fan. I'm as we're kind of rounding out here, CV and cover letter review. So CAPS is here for you. You can make an appointment. Maybe it won't be as long or as quick as you want it. Sometimes there are waits, but you can do that on My Future. You can also call in. We have some guides. I apologize for my dog. He doesn't agree with something I'm saying, perhaps, but it's okay, Timbo. So there's how-to guides. Check those out. There's a drop-in format. Okay, so don't come into a drop-in hoping to do your resume and your CV the day before it's due. Be mindful that these are 15 minutes. A lot can get done in 15 minutes. A resume could be reviewed. I'm so sorry, guys. This is so awkward. Okay, be good. But yeah, that's basically it. That's my tips when it comes to a successful drop-in. Yeah, but definitely show up, try to get your name on that list, and stay in touch. Subscribe to us on Instagram. Make sure you're getting our newsletter. That's another subscription that you can do. It should be easy to do that on our website. And that way you're going to get in your inbox every month, at the beginning of every month, the whole roster of what the workshops are going to be about, maybe the info sessions. And yeah, if you need anything else, feel free to send me an email. I will put it in the chat and I have to run, but thank you again, AIO, for giving me this space today.
Thank you, Amelia, for sharing all the resources. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to her if you have more questions. And look out the different amazing programs that CAPS run that are very complementary. So CAPS services is for everybody on campus, while our office only works with the Faculty of Arts. But we really work together as there is a lot more available to students. And as Amelia mentioned, sometimes something might be offered in a different faculty, but it could also apply to students in the Faculty of Arts. So make sure to check out all of those events and resources additionally to what we offer as well. So to continue, I will quickly mention funding opportunities. So sometimes when you look for your internship, you might find one that is already funded, that is already a paid internship. However, we are aware that the reality is that there are a lot of unpaid internships happening as well, and especially in the Faculty of Arts, sometimes working with smaller organizations or NGOs that don't have the funds, or sometimes if you're the one reaching out to an organization and asking them to create an internship positions that they don't necessarily have the resources to have in the first place. We do offer a funding program, so the deadline for that. I just noticed a typo on the poster, but the deadline is March 15, not March 5th. So we'll make sure to fix that. But the Faculty of Arts Internship Awards are partial funding to offset internship related costs. So obviously they don't make up for a full salary, but they are here to help you and support you to cover costs such as travel, accommodations, visas, etc. It's not just for international. We definitely encourage students going internationally to apply, but if you are doing a local internship, you can also apply. It's for students who have already confirmed their summer internships. So again, we won't spend too much time on the details of the awards application today. And those awards are generously funded by alumni from McGill, as well as the Faculty of Arts and the Arts Undergraduate Society. So the first step is definitely to start your search and to find your internship. But just to keep in mind that if you find an internship that's unpaid, that you could apply through the Faculty of Arts Internship Awards. Last summer, we had 153 students receive awards in summer 2025. And so similar to the eligibility criteria I mentioned earlier, it's open to returning students in bachelor's and master's in arts. You need to have the internship offer for a summer internship, 8 to 12 weeks, and you can find the full list of eligibility criteria on the website. And the deadline to apply is March 15, 2026. We have also an info session happening on February 3rd about the Faculty of Arts Internship Awards. So if you find your internship by then, if you'd like to come and ask any questions, it will be more focused on the application process and how to fill in the applications. But it's great to have students attend and ask their questions, since a lot of people have the same questions. It's great if we can address them during the info sessions. So again, if you have any questions, also feel free to send them in the chat, and we'll get to them during the Q&A at the end. Training opportunities. So if you are selected as an award recipient, or if you have an internship credit or a student experience record, so those are different ways that you can have your internship linked to the university. You have access to training before, during, and after your internship. So we have a meeting to meet all of the interns of the summer, an awards reception for awards recipients, as well as workshops on how to make the most out of your internship, as well as intern positionality. And we bring in experts in the field and external organizations to deliver those workshops. So it really gives you an edge and an added tools to really go into your experience. And then when you come back to campus, we have a debriefing session and our annual event. So you get to reflect on your internship and really reflect on the skills that you learn. Again, those learning objectives that you set in the beginning, did you reach them? What did you learn from your experience? Did you like it? Or if you didn't like it, what did it teach you about what you want in your future career? as well as workshops. So if to start preparing your applications, we're offering CV writing, cover letter writing, and how to prepare for an interview workshop. So those are additional to the CAPS resources. We are bringing in an external workshop facilitator from Yes Entrepreneurship and Employment. And we have 3 dates for each of the workshops. So the first one for CV writing is happening tomorrow. So just to note that those workshops are not recorded, so they're a lot more interactive than today's session, and you can come with your CV writing question. So especially if you're just getting started, if you don't already have a CV or if you haven't written cover letters before, I really recommend going to those workshops to feel equipped to get started on getting them written. And then you can also always go to CAPS on top of the workshops and bring your drafts and have them edited as well, more one-on-one. And we have other info sessions coming up. We are going to have in-person info sessions with certain departments, such as art history and IDS next week. We're going to have an info session, as I mentioned, specifically for internship postings, so how to apply for them. The AMI week, where you get to talk with mentors and past interns and network with them, as well as the awards info session on how to apply for the awards. So before we wrap up, I just want to give a few minutes to our speaker. I think Serena is here to share a few words of advice on how to prepare for an internship. As Serena did 2 internships and received Faculty of Arts internship awards for both of them. So let me just find Serena.
Hi, is everything working? I think it should be.
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
perfect. Yeah, I'll make my little bit pretty brief, but yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. And hello everyone, my name is Serena, and as you can see here from the two photos, I was very, very fortunate to be able to be awarded an AIO award and do an internship through McGill for 2 different years, the summer of 2024 as well as the summer of 2025. And my two internships, they were very like unique in their own ways, but they were both ultimately working with nonprofit organizations, non-government organizations that I really valued the experience of that I would not have had the opportunity otherwise to have been able to have a paid experience had I not had the support of the Arts Internship Office. So I'm very grateful for that. But beyond that, more specifically, how I found these internships, which I think is of the most relevance to people here, is that for one, I suggest 3 different key ways of finding an internship, at least in my experience, if you're interested in going down a similar path as me. One is to find one with a personal historical connection, one that you've maybe worked at, volunteered at, expressed interest for. That was the case for me with the one that I did in Toronto, which is called the Working Women's Community Center, where in the past I'd actually volunteered as a volunteer tutor when I was in high school. And so when looking into the opportunities that the Faculty of Arts granted, I thought it would be a really amazing opportunity to revisit that, but in a different position, one where I can actually work as an intern. And then the second, like key way of like finding an organization which ties strongly to the first is even if you don't have a personal experience, like they said in the presentation, if you find an organization that really resonates with your key values or resonates with your research interests, then it's really meaningful looking into that and connecting on that basis. So that was the case for the internship that I did this past summer, this most recent summer, which was stationed in Montreal with an organization called Dia Foundation. That one, for both, I will say, I completely cold emailed. For neither of them did they have, official listings up. But in my experience, there's a pretty decent success rate, but there are still things to be aware of. And that reminds me, did I have a third reason? I think I might have just said 3 reasons. Anyways, my other key tips of advice for finding an internship from my experience from these two is since for my case, I was cold emailing, there's like a very, very good likelihood that things get lost in inboxes, especially if it's for an organization that's quite busy. If it's for an organization that, is more active in recruiting, that might not be the case. But I know for a fact, after speaking with the administration of both of these internships, that for both, it was like a very, very fortunate chance that someone saw my email requesting. And from there, if you are able to get someone to see your email, the next really important step that I advise is to set up a video or in-person interview. For my case, it was both or not an interview per se, but just a video meeting. And because in that, both of my opportunities were funded through ASEF, Art Student Employment Fund, which I really, really enjoyed because what it does is it really allows you to craft and build your own internship schedule opportunities, like aspects with the or host organization itself. Whereas there are a lot of other amazing postings on AIO, but those are a lot more specific with what requirements. But with both of these internships, what I was able to do upon sending an email and having them hear back was I would set up a video call, and from there I would just introduce myself, explain kind of the contents of what I'm able to do through the Art Student Employment Fund and set up through there a sort of like contract of sorts, which is really amazing because of how customizable it is. And it allows these organizations to really put you in a variety of different roles that they maybe otherwise would have been a lot more limited in doing. So yeah, and furthermore, really like don't hesitate in these situations to like advocate for yourself. For each of the cold emails that I would send, I would like explicitly say, "Hi, I'm Serena. Like, I'm a student at McGill doing da 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 da. I'm really passionate about these research interests, these fields, which I think directly resonates with your organization in these ways. Attached is my CV for you to peruse. I would love to have like to set up a video call where I could discuss more about doing an internship, which would be funded and supported through my university. So please let me know." Something along those lines. But yeah, otherwise, I guess the final piece of advice I would have is to, after like setting up these internships, it's good to like stay in continuous contact as best as you can with the organizations. I know sometimes they get really busy, so they kind of, on their part, might be a little lackluster in communication until it finally gets set up. But for both of them, but especially for my most recent internship, it was really helpful staying in contact even before the official start date of my internship because actually I was able to like informally like be introduced to a lot of people or just like learn about a lot of things. Like for example, my most recent internship was in Montreal and the official start date was in May, but even as early as April, they suggested that if I would like to, I could attend some of their meetings, meet the people within the organization. And that was a really great opportunity to not only network, but just to really get acquainted within the internship setting, the people that you'll be working with, and yeah, just meet more people. I think, yeah, both of these I will say were very, very like they were both very fulfilling, but also very fun. Like I went in doing this internship genuinely like enjoying, happy to do. Of course, be willing to be flexible with what tasks you're given because I was working at non-profit organizations that, have lower capacity. Even if like listed, I officially was most interested in these. I would also volunteer myself to be open to like do other tasks. And I think like marketing, advertising, placing yourself as someone who's like flexible is valuable not only for the host organization, but also for yourself, for your own experience. Because then you end up learning things that you might not have thought you would have enjoyed doing or you were good at doing and found out otherwise. I think that's everything that I really want to discuss. I'm, of course, open to any questions and open whether that be now or in my email inbox. But yeah, once again, thank you so much to the Arts Internship Office for inviting me to speak. And I wish you all the best of luck in your internship search for this year.
Thank you so much, Serena. Again, we can say it, but I think it rings a lot more true from a student who's experienced it recently. And yeah, thank you so for all your great advice. So just to wrap up, before we finish, a few key upcoming deadlines I've mentioned. So our postings deadline is on February 8th. Our research internship deadline is on February 22nd, and the award deadline is on March 15th. Those are all Sundays at 11:59, but just know that our office is closed on the weekend. So if you have any questions, it's better to come to us on the Friday before, ideally before that as well. And to stay connected, so sign up to our listserv and newsletter. Similar to CAPS, we also send recaps of all the events coming up and reminders, and sometimes even kind of exclusive opportunities that we can't share through social media. So we also have social media, but the algorithm, I don't trust it as well to get every single post. So again, during January, February, we'll have a lot of events coming up. So make sure to attend those. Here's our email as well. So this is definitely the best way if you have a question, if you'd like to get in touch with another student, like Serena or another past intern, you can always send us an email. Or again, if you have a quick question, you can also come by the office in person. We're in Leacock in room 307, and we have drop-in hours. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday. So the doors usually open and we have staff there to answer your questions. But during those set times, again, we close everything else and we're ready to welcome you for questions. So feel free to come by to ask your questions. If you just, again, want to sit down, they'll go through the website with you as well. So I think, okay, we have a few more minutes. So I'll just give a quick overview of where to find resources on the website. From everything that we mentioned today. So this is, oops, our website. Can you see the website on my screen? Yeah, cool. So, I feel like we are often told to just go on the website. So I'll show you kind of like where to find everything I mentioned today. So for internship resources, you can go under internships. Here is the section about postings, the find your own internship. So this is going to be a lot of the information we talked about today. We have the handout about steps to effective internship search with those questions, and a lot of the CAPS resources, so the My Future portal, the CV cover letter guides, booking an appointment, MicroXP, Future Interns Club, etc. For graduating students, so again, we only offer resources for returning students. However, here's a few resources that are offered through CAPS. We have, that was more of a general info session here. The funding resources is here. So the list of award recipients I was mentioning is on through here. So you can go through the different years. They're organized by award name, but you can kind of do a search based on departments and seeing the different types of internship students have done. And we have a link to their stories, so the reports and pictures of each student's experience. That way you get to learn more. And if you'd like to get in touch with that student specifically, you can send an email to AIO and we'll put you in touch with them. And then applying for funding. So everything is on here. We'll have another info session about that. The deadline is March 15. The form is not open yet. It will open shortly. For the research internships, we had an info session that the recording will be here, and you can find all the information here as well. Here's a section with all of the stories. So we also have stories for the research interns. Our mentorship program, as I mentioned, the registration was in the fall semester, but you have access to the upcoming events. For travel, if you're considering going outside of Canada, I definitely recommend looking at the other info session and reading through this page for all the information on how to prepare for travel. Additional resources I didn't spend much time talking about today, but you could get recognition through your student experience record. So that's also part of the My Future platform. So that's a way to have the internship officially recognized by the university. And that's something that you do, you apply before you start your internship and you fill in the form and we vet whether the internship is approved by the faculty or not. And then once you complete your internship, you send us a completion letter, and then the experience will appear on your student experience record, which is an official record from the university. So it's kind of like additionally to your transcript and to your CV. And that can be sent in the future to employers and to grad school if you're applying for that. So it can be a great way to have your extracurricular activities recognized officially by McGill. And certain departments also offer academic credits. So if you're interested in getting credits, it's a academic course that you take in the fall semester after completing your internship. And only certain departments offer that course, and they each have specific eligibility requirements for the course. So you have to make sure that you qualify for them. But if you're interested, it's good to know that it exists. So you can find all of that under resources here. Again, if you have any questions, you can come email us or come to the office. All of the events that I mentioned are listed here, so you can find all the links to register, like the CV workshop happening tomorrow, as well as all the other events. And finally, our contact information. So again, our email will have the drop-in hours here and the instructions to sign up for the listserv. All right, we're out of time, so drop-in hours. I don't know if there was any questions. I will check the chat quickly. Amelia shared her email. Someone asked if there's a specific criteria for doing an internship abroad, like specific language policies or to avoid certain foreign countries. So you can find all that information on the travel section and the info session that we had. In terms of countries to avoid per se, we do follow the Government of Canada's travel, I forget what it's called now, travel advisories, I believe. Um, so you do want to make sure that they are not in a category 3 or 4. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, that's so the orange and red zones. So you can look up each country and verify that they are not in the orange and red zones. In terms of language policies, it depends on your country of destination and your organization that is hosting you. So each internship would be different. For our postings, it's clearly indicated if there is a language requirement, but otherwise that's something you can ask the organization. And then obviously in terms of preparing for travel, you would need to complete the pre-departure orientation. But again, you can find more information in the travel section. There's another question about what if I am going on exchange during the following semester after the potential internship? Am I still eligible to access AO resources? That's a very good question that we get often. You are eligible. So if you go on exchange, it's considered university sanctioned, university related. So if you are on exchange this semester, if you're going on exchange this semester afterwards, you are still eligible for all of our resources. So yes, that's the answer. Maybe a few of the FAQs. So if you want to do a fall or winter internship, as I've explained, we really focus on summer internships. You are free to do an internship completely independently from the university during the semester, or sometimes students are able to do a part-time internship. So again, it's better to come and talk to our advisors, but we really recommend focusing on summer internships between May to August. We encourage students to do internships outside of their major if they would like to, or to explore different pathways, as I explained also earlier, to do an internship as a first year. So I also mentioned that. We do recommend, again, signing up for a mentorship program or just reaching out to past interns to get advice. But all of our advisors as well, we have some past interns working at the office. So even if you're not in the mentorship program, you can come to the office and talk to them during drop-in hours. For research-oriented internships, I recommend that you look up the ARIA program for undergraduate research. We already talked about travel. And then speaking French and all the language requirements. So a lot of the positions in Montreal might sometimes require French. Again, the best way is really to ask the organization. Already looking on their website, you can get a feel of whether the French is required or not. But just being clear about requirements if you are cold emailing and reaching out to organizations on what is required for internships. But as I've mentioned, you can also explore opportunities outside of Montreal where the language requirements might be different. All right. And there's a last question in the chat. Someone who is considering taking 3 courses, would this prevent me from being eligible for AO opportunities? As long as you're registered as students in the Faculty of Arts, you would still be eligible. If you have specific questions, it's always better to send us an email to double check. But yes, you can be a part-time student also before or after the internship, so that would not affect eligibility. All right, I'm running out of saliva and running out of time. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Serena, for taking the time to be here today. And again, this was all recorded, and we'll be sharing the slides with all of you. So we hope to see you around the office this semester, and all the best for your internship search. So yeah, have a good rest of your day.